SBA EIDL Loan increase in repayment update 2022 going into 2023, getting 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, literally with no docs, no collateral, an alternative up to 5 million, incredibly fast, whether you have good or bad credit, collateral, no collateral, and so much more. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert, and if you haven't watched me and it is your first time, I've been around helping a lot of businesses during COVID, post COVID, get the right type of business financing in the right vehicle at the right time of all industries and backgrounds. Now, no further introduction. I want to get into some of the heavy things on your mind, as in payments coming up. Perhaps you haven't made your first payment, others have, or you have been making them. Have you been doing it on time? There's only a limited amount, like 20 to 25% of people who can afford to actually pay everything and make those reoccurring payments, principal and interest accruing, as opposed to the other 80 or so percent who can't make their EIDL payments. So if you haven't heard me speaking about the hardship accommodation plan, that's one video that I came out with recently on the EIDL loan, where it's about up to 6 months of lowered repayments. So that may be sitting in your CAFS portal as we speak if you haven't yet. And if you haven't seen it, it's because you have to be up to about 60 days for your first initial payment, and then you'll see that. So if you're worried that you don't see it in your portal, that may be the reason why. And if you have gone through it and if you've seen it, you've acted on it and you needed it, great. And I won't go too heavily on the hardship accommodation plan in this video, but just know that when it comes to thinking about EIDL, the number one thing on everybody's mind right now is not only can we get it forgiven, but how do we lower that accrued interest? So when I'm looking at these two things, there are proposals out there, and perhaps in 2023, we may see some partial forgiveness. We may not. That's still in the works through the SBA, Administrator Guzman, and a few of the other things happening within the SBA that we can't say yes for sure. But the principal and accrued interest, especially the interest, is what is hurting a lot of businesses. And we're about to see a huge wave of businesses going out. And a lot of those of you who have been able to surface and resurface. So it's unfortunate what we're going through, the whole proposal on getting 1% interest rates, the disaster loans. And I put a few notes here so I just don't miss anything. But with disaster loans, and that's a whole different segment. If you have had some kind of physical disaster, that doesn't really apply right now to the COVID EIDL loan that we're on topic about. So I won't dive deep into that one, but I will get into some of the alternatives you guys can check out in the meantime if you do need additional funding. And for the majority of you who have been making payments, keep doing those. Keep up with it. I know how difficult it may seem. I have a lot of friends and family who have been going through that too. And it isn't easy. It's not as simple as saying, hey, we should just drop the whole accrued interest. Let's find a way to minimize interest in total with the principal being less. Let's go ahead and have another 6 months of deferment and not make these repayments. Let's have it completely forgiven so we don't have to worry about it. Perhaps there will be, again, a partial forgiveness next year, but we're unsure about that. And I'll keep updating you as time goes on. And then the increases, for those of you, that's not on the table for the majority. And for those of you asking, can I submit an application, whether it's SBA EIDL or PPP loans? Not at this moment, no open applications. So I'm going to jump into the share screen in just a moment, but please let me know where you are tuning in from if you're joining me right now on the live. This is spontaneous, not one that I have had scheduled. I thought about doing this, so I finally committed. And if you are here, please give me a wave, give me a hashtag live or hashtag replay so I know who's in here and what time interval you dropped in. I do try to come back to the comments and reply when I have that energy and time. Not always, but I will always be here for you. If you have questions, feel free to reach out, email. I'll leave a questionnaire form down below where you can get a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options, very thoroughly broken down. And I'll cover a little bit about that. I may show it to you on screen here soon. And all other information, you can refer to that. So now that I covered a bit of the hardship accommodation plan, which I won't go too deep about, I have another video where I spoke about the details to that, underneath 200, over 200,000 in the amount that you received through EIDL, and that we have the hardship accommodation plan for the 6 months of the repayment. that they're trying to help business owners lower that. That may move up in time. We don't know yet. But there's a lot of speculation, a lot of theory, and just throwing things out there right now wouldn't be in your best interest. Disaster loans for the no payments for the first year, and a few things with interest there on the first year, but that doesn't apply exactly to the whole EIDL situation. So let me jump into the share screen here. Give me one moment. To transition from EIDL, let's get into 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and up to 150,000 plus the alternatives up to 5 million. And I'm even going to show you how you can get up to 26,000 per employee as an employer who has W-2 employees, those W-2 wages, and what is on that table. So you see here it says, come on in. We are open. And here, let me move the screen over. So I've created content on this in the past about 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, literally up to 150, if not 250,000. And what this is a revolving credit line program, more of a credit line hybrid is what we call it, where you would multiply add different business credit cards on top of one another with different limits. Perhaps you have one with 30, another one with 20, one with 5, but you can add the total together and use that as you choose. Use it for several investments. You can liquidate, take the cash out, and use it for several investments. So for those of you out there who are struggling to get additional funding, you need to make payments, you need to make payroll, you have more employees, you have people you need to hire, more equipment, growth and expansion, too much overhead, expenses are coming up, your revenue isn't, or your revenue is, but at the rate that it is going versus your expenses, it's catching up. And so the majority of you don't have enough cash flow, are not depositing as frequently as you used to, don't have the right type of contracts, bids. There's so much happening for each and every individual and industry that I'm not going to speak about just one specific one at this moment. But just know that this is a business credit line program where you can take that money out of those credit cards and then you liquidate the cash, and then you can use that for several investments. I know a lot of real estate investors and friends who do this all the time, especially business owners. I've done it myself, and it works extremely well. But you have to learn how to do it. What are the steps? And I've created content I'm going to link you to when there's a description down below. There should be one there when you're watching this on the replay. You can check it out. 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to 150, up to 250,000. No docs, literally no docs. You don't have to supply bank statements, whether it's on the personal or business side. No collaterals to securing those credit cards. I know they're secured, non-secured credit cards, but literally you can use your personal credit. You want to leverage that to get these business credit cards. And I know it doesn't sound as attractive to us because we're looking at it like, well, why can't I just get a loan? So I'm going to speak about that briefly in a second and transition away from this. But in case you haven't learned much about me and what I have to bring to the table as an expert, let me just show you very quickly my sites if you guys ever needed help with, but I'll have forms down below to get in touch. Fill out that questionnaire form if you haven't. That'll be the first thing you want to do. But this is my site here, viralfundingsolutions.com. You can go to, and it says right there, I help small businesses get alternative loans fast, advances, whatever that may be. There are multiple solutions for everybody. And you can see how, if you're new here, where you could go, what is Viral Funding Solutions? And I'll go a little bit about this, and then I'll transition into some of those alternatives. We save you a lot of time. And when I say this, the back part of it is mainly me, because this is my business, energy, money, and especially the pain of sifting through endless business funding solutions, such as online marketplaces that don't always give you a clear picture and the proper breakdown of your best options and show you everything you need to know before walking into an application with 100% confidence and certainty that you won't only get approved, but be satisfied with what you are getting, and to get the most legitimate and helpful source of programs and lenders so you can have a safe, secure, and hassle-free application process. With an expert loan broker, with yours truly, you will get more of a personalized and customized email response on what is your best funding option and options once and for all. And so I've seen a lot of business owners who go see some ad and they just go and start an application. That is not the way you want to do it. The majority, over 95% of the time, and the majority of you will do that and probably have done it. And you may get a robotics response. You may get somebody you work with, but do they know everything? A lot of the times they'll bait and switch you. They will overpromise and underdeliver. They'll make it sound so easy for you that all you have to do is go in, give them your bank statement, submit an application and all that, and they'll have a term sheet for you, or they'll have an offer for you, and then this is how we can move. And you have to fact check that. And I'm always looking at these things when people present them to me. And so if you want the best with the best lender and the best team of underwriters and my team, then I'm somebody you want to work with. Now, if you want to do things by yourself and see how it goes, because I've done it, I've been in your position. When I first started my business, I tried to figure out how I can get startup money for it. I didn't even have that much revenue coming into the business. I had to work, not even in less than a year that I have enough. Like, I had to work on a digital business in and out. And so I know what it takes to get your first 18 cents, your first 88 cents, your first dollar. I didn't make my first dollar. I made my first 18 cents. And then I had to learn how to build from there. And I'm not going to talk too much about my story, but just know like this, like the majority of you, I was stuck in a 9-to-5 role, underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid. That's all an understatement. Working for a logistics/financing side of the business, mentally on the computers, hard, as well as physically, I had to move material when it got busy. And it didn't get as busy until the last year or so. And so I stuck in it for more stability reasons. After college had finished, I had other jobs before that, but I put myself back in school to finish, get my degree. And then thinking, should I go back? The company ended up going down under eventually. Now, what other role do I take? Do I go take another job? Do I go get more certifications? Maybe a trade this time outside of the financial space, logistics. And so I met a friend, or I actually spoke to my friend, not met a friend. That was a long time ago, but he replied back to one of my Snapchat messages, and I had looked them up, and we just got into conversation about, hey, how can you start a digital business? And that's what I started getting into, understanding how to build a passive income digital marketing agency, a few affiliate marketing businesses. I did a hybrid with e-commerce. And so I was in that position like you, trying to seek out financing, overhead increasing, marketing and advertising, tools, supplies, boom, I was up there. I was corroded and just taking a hit. And so I had to bounce back up. Even when we take those vacations, if you guys are using personal cards to finance these things, if you go over, you know, if you went over, and sometimes you don't know. I've been there. And it's like, well, I took a 300, I took like a 20 to 30, 40% dip on my credit. Took a tank. And so for the majority of you using personal credit to leverage getting funding, be very careful on your utilization. That's why it's best that you guys start forming your business credit. And it isn't that difficult. I'll have content for it down below when the description is there on free building your business credit video series, where I talk about vendor credit, different trade lines and accounts. You can get into vendor, retail credit, trade credit. There's a few ones out there, but you start teaming up with these vendors and they start associating you with them and giving you credit. You can purchase supplies, tools you need, and you start building your business credit at the same time. So then down the road, if you try to get an SBA loan like a 7A/504, et cetera, you have business credit worthiness. Your established business credit is there. You're just not leveraging your personal credit, but they want to see your business credit. And without that, it makes it very difficult for us to approve you because you'll have nothing on your business. For the majority of you who haven't done that yet, and you want to work up to an express SBA 7A loan up to $5 million, which I'm transitioning to now, that's what you want to get into. So we just spoke about the hardship accommodation plan, a few points of the EIDL loan, PPP not there, EIDL loan changing, being closed, then open. Who knows what will happen in 2023? But are you going to wait for somebody to give you money? Are you going to go out there and get your money? And the majority of you go get money when you're in a scramble, you're in a tight pinch. Prepare before to pay off that rent, that mortgage, that overhead you have. You may be eligible for other sources, perhaps not a bank, not an online bank. Perhaps you get a private lender, but the rates you end up seeing there are medium to high. APRs are a little bit higher. Now that depends on the service, but I'm not going to jump too deep into the APR. Just know that certain services have more higher APRs than other ones. And so what you need to look at, aside from the annual interest rates, the APR, is thinking about your benefit exceeding your repayment. For the majority of you, you're like, I'm just trying to save money, Michael. I'm not even trying to grow my revenue. I'm not trying to double it, quadruple it, or even just triple it. I just need money for another day, for a rainy day. And I have so much overhead. I just need to save more money. I need more cash flow. How do I get that? And I understand your positioning. And you come to me and go, well, I want to do it without, these 20 to 30%, 40% interest rates or factor rates. How can I do it without those high interest merchant cash advance, although it's not amortized as an interest? It's a factor rate. It's a different way. When people come to me and they ask me, what is the interest rate? Like a home, they think like an EIDL loan. It's not set per month. So if I say your interest rate is 1%, you may think it's 1% for the whole year. Oh, nice. But when I speak to individuals and I go, no, you're getting probably a 1.1 or about a 2.1, maybe a 2% per month. So think about that. You get 2% interest per month and you have a 12-month term. That's 24% interest. Now, that's not necessarily bad. And in this market, 24% interest is a bargain. Yes, you want to ideally get less, but you're not collateralizing it to get the financing. The majority of you have to understand that it isn't about the interest, but about the benefit. What can you do with the money you have access to? If I ask you that question right now, would you have a plan for it? The majority of people know, because they're just trying to reach the surface again, just so they can even grow their revenue, expand their business again. And I understand that you might have a cash flow deficit. So taking on $20,000 to pay back $27,000 to $30,000 in about 6 to 7, 8 months, whatever that is, it's not doable or achievable for you right now. But will it be in the future? Yeah, it could be. But right now, what you need to do to get that $20,000 instead, and then, have a little bit more room. That's why there are these personal credit cards, but you have to be careful. That's why you have business credit cards, and that's what I would start working on. And I'm going to leave content for you guys on that credit line hybrid, building your business credit, getting vendor credit, doing the two at the same time, and not getting stuck in this whole repeat pattern of, well, I want to get another personal loan. I want to get a startup loan. And those do exist, and they have a place. Personal loans, startup loans, merchant cash advances, unsecured term loans, lines of credit. Of course, all of these have a place. And I'll leave content for you down below when it is there. Again, it'll be there on the replay when it's up on YouTube finally for you to watch again. But if you're in that situation where you're just fighting tooth and nail for every cent, for every dollar, it comes down to a prepay. It comes down to just saving more. And sometimes it makes more sense. Other times you're pinching a little bit. And maybe you're not valuing 100% more of what we can give you over time. We have a set roadmap for you. And this is better. This is going to be in your best interest over the period. And even if you had to pay a little bit more, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. There are ways around and ways about getting through that. So think about your positioning and what you're trying to do. And for the majority of you who are looking for a monthly repayment, and I think I'm going to end it on this because I can get even heavier into each and every one of these segments, just so you know this. And if you watch me, you know what I bring. And this isn't a joke. And I very much do care about you as a person first. And don't say it as you're a number, or those people who say you're not just. Why just? Why not say you're not a number? And I back that up with my experience, helping people in the 7 figures, 8 figures, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, nothing pre-revenue. How do you get started in all of this, Michael? Have you been listening? That's your very first task. Listen, observe, absorb, watch. And so when you're getting a business loan online, the majority of you are on here looking for an unsecured term loan, maybe a line of credit is what we think about the majority. But first, let me see if I can open up a screen here. 1 second. I want to transition away from here and then show you guys something that I thought I was going to show you guys earlier, but I got cut off doing a few things. Actually, let me do this first. No, go backspace. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is that questionnaire form that I'm going to link you guys to. And I might just do it now that we're on here live. 1 second. If you've already filled this out, please do ignore it. And if you haven't, you'll want to fill that out. And there probably is another questionnaire if you already have my free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. I'll send you another link in time. And if we've reached out, you've likely seen that other way of getting in contact. But over here, you can choose from one of the two options. You can skim through the page if you would like to, see how legit it is. If I'm a non-startup business with 3+ months in business, plus you'll get a free 6-step approval lending checklist. So if I click this one second. Right here, it says, get the funding your business needs fast. And it can be slower, it can be faster. That depends on the type of service you are getting. Complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response on your best or for your best funding option and options from a real, and I put it in caps locks, business loan broker expert, not just a real business loan broker, but an expert. Plus, get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster without making the mistakes that a lot of people do, which one of those mistakes being what? That too many people, they go and apply everywhere and everywhere. Don't make that spray and pray method mistake. Yes, it's one thing to shop around. I won't fault you for that, but at the same time, there isn't always a place for it. So you have to be careful of what you do. And I created a video recently on the 10 business loan mistakes you want to avoid. And if you've been making them, don't do them anymore. And I'll link it to you. I believe I'll put it in the description if I remember about that. I should be able to. So you can check that one out. So you're going to fill out your funding details here. You're also going to get a free 6-step approval lending checklist so you can know what it really takes to get approved. And then your name, email, phone number, mobile preferred, so I can not heckle you, not harass you. But once I send you an email that you're going to be like, wow. And it's going to be an in-depth email, so much so that it's going to be clipped the majority of the time. And you're going to have to open up that email in a separate window and just view it. And the best funding option is going to be at the top in those ones that you should get started with. And so I'll follow up with you, letting you know that I already sent that email. That's why I say mobile preferred. If you're hard to get a hold of, don't even submit this form because I don't want to waste my energy and time with you. And I say that in a very nice and polite way, whether you think not, but it's just tough love. Too many people fill this thing out and then they disappear. They have their financial person handle things and they are emailing me. And then when I try to get a hold of them at the ending point, they just disappear. Don't be that person. That's very rude, disrespectful, being unaccountable and irresponsible. Only know so much about what you'll do in your business if that's the way you act here. So time in business, please specify years or months. I have some people right now that have to go back and email because I couldn't find their presence anywhere online. Anything that details how much time they have in business, I have to make a guess. I can't do that and give you a pre-underwritten file. Like I pre-underwrite these files and I know the underwriting guidelines to every lender. So if I don't know what time in business you have, how can I differentiate from 4 months to 4 years? FICO credit score, please add that. And what I would do is, here, I'll add it in here in a second. Do you have business credit established? Yes or no? Ownership percentage at 50% and below. Please list owner two's FICO or at least a range. More precise is better. Also list the lowest FICO credit score of all owners. Why do I say that? Because if you have a 50-50 split or in a different 25-25, whatever that is, and you are sharing your business with someone else, we're going to go off of that lowest score. You might have an 800 score, but your partner here is sitting at a 550. That doesn't look good. You guys have equal amounts of partnership for the majority. So why would we take your highest credit when we see it your lowest credit? And that actually gives us a better representation of how you're managing your business, your bills, and everything. So yeah, you have somebody over here, but they're leveraging their credit over here, the majority of it. Or if they're not, their credit score is low. They got to get theirs up if you want better terms at better rates, even the better amount of financing. So back to this. Lowest monthly revenue in the last 30 months, average monthly revenue, average daily bank balance, annual gross revenue, highest monthly sales in the last 6 months, estimate that if need be. And then your average in the last 6 months, estimated if need be. Use of funds, you can scroll down here. There's more. Check that one. Other, it might be a box where you can submit more about what that is. Existing business loan, advance, yes or no. And this part, I want you to please don't skip it. If you say yes, if you do, this might not be a required field. But yes, okay, if you answered yes to the above question and is not just an idle loan, please put down the remaining balances, total debt amount, and the type of loan. If advance, how many positions, etc. Just be a little bit more specific. It doesn't always need to be a phone call. And this is safe and secure, guys. I have people right now who always want phone calls from me. They want me to get on a call, and I don't have all the energy and time to be doing that. Even if I had somebody to vet those appointments through, Other people, contrary to popular belief, they just want to take anything and everything. And so you have to be careful who you speak to on that other side of that call, because they may be chirping at your ear like a true salesperson trying to sell you, trying to ramble when they're not trying to ramble. They're rambling over their words. They're not very clear. They slow down, because I'm like that. I'm going to slow it down for you. I'm going to break it down. And just because I speak like that doesn't mean I don't have the power and the authority to do things, because I've been doing this for a long time. And I will not ever just tell you something because it's going to be in my best interest. If it makes sense to you, and I know it's your problem, your pain, what roadblock, what obstacles, what actual results you're looking for, do you think that I'm going to position myself first? No. I'm going to see everything that you have bigger problems with, and I'm going to dig, and I'm going to find out, like, why is it this way? Why do you want the funding? Do you know that if you didn't get everything you wanted at once, do you have a plan B? Can you go back to your business plan, revise, and say, hey, I couldn't get the 50,000, but I have to start somewhere with the 20,000 I was given, and then I'm going to use some of that to repair my equipment. I got to use some things for the shop, some new tools, new equipment, and then using that money, if I get my truck back out on the road, I'll go back to about 50,000 a month. I could jump instantly in 30,000 like that within the next month, the next 2 to 3 months. And how long and consistent that is, that's another question. And those tools and supplies allow your workers to come into work so you don't have to relieve them. So you don't have to be the one working all the time. And instead, you're looking outside of your business. You're taking that vacation to relax, finally looking out into the ocean. You can see, like, you are internally, the waves are the same: calm, cool, collected, blue, nice warm weather out, not a worry in the world. You don't have to check in on your business every second. You don't have to worry about your credit. You don't have to worry about all of these things that everyday business owners do worry about. And I've been there before, and I know how difficult it is. It could be to get there, but believe me, everything you do every day, even how small it is going to amount to a huge thing over time. So keep digging, keep hitting that wall until that brick falls, because the initial hit, the first one that you use and you were consistently doing it, is what's going to be the most 100th hit. That's what's going to result because of the first one, not that 100th hit itself, but everything that came before it. So back to this. Term length expectations. When do you need your funds? Business industry, business name, any additional notes you'd like to share. Give it your time here to tell me, hey, Michael, I need some 50,000 for payroll. I'm planning to use another 10,000 to get a few more trucks, I don't know, repaired. I need an additional amount for this. And that's best. And we can eliminate a lot of the friction, a lot of the resistance, a lot of the stuff that business owners just want to butt heads with me. And I don't ever butt heads with anybody. I'm not rude. It's just, you are worried. You're like, I don't want to take a loan. Who wakes up in the morning saying I want to take a loan? Nobody does. But can it double, triple, quadruple your business? Yes, it could. If it took your business to the next level and you can scale it, absolutely. And it can even help you recover some costs, help you over time. Maybe you don't see it in the short term, but over time you will see it. So about us, you can learn a little bit more there. And there's a step-by-step breakdown on how it's going to work. I'll analyze, evaluate, and give you a proper response back via email. You can even get started on the thank you page once you go onto this, or you can wait. But I won't walk you through all of this right now. That's for another time. Now let me see my other screen here. I have it open now. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to voice them in the comments. In time, again, my description will be there, and I'll leave you guys my email. But go through the questionnaire form like I just showed you. Fill that out first. But I also have the Business Funding Mastery Academy course that I still have open for free. And I've said this before, not sure how long this will be open for, so I would be jumping on top of this. And what it is, it's an A to Z Mastery Academy course for business financing, a lot of it being business loans, advances. You can even learn about building your business credit, vendor credit, credit lines, personal credit, fixed increases, what you have going on there, and other resources that I've added. But you can also pick up a free 15-step business building checklist that I've put together through the time that I've had and experiences with my businesses. And then if you're ready, you can continue to the course. Underneath here, you'll see the modules and lessons. It's pretty lengthy about the teacher. And I've, have a little bit of a story there, and I'll leave a video down below so you can learn more. But you can continue to the course. I'm logged in under a different account, so it may take me to a different part. So yours may not start right here, but on the side screen here, you may be able to move over, and we can begin with business funding origins and having a strategic approach and what I would do to get started. And it's going to be broken down for you step by step. And what it does, it's built like I put it together. My mind, I have a very systematic and mathical mind. So I put frameworks together, and over years of literally putting all of this content together, that's finally amounted to this. So you'll get a mix of my YouTube content, some of it that's not listed publicly, some of it that is, to my Vimeo content and other content that's out there that's very exclusive and stuff to this course. So I put it all together step by step, seeing chronologically, semantically, sequentially, however you want to name it. What would be the first lesson? What could be the next one? And then the module after that. And I took a lot of time to form that. So you're not going to be learning, how can I get a monthly repayment? And you're not going to learn that the very first lesson. But once you get to the meat and the potatoes on the business loans and the expectations, you will. And in one of those videos, let me come back to this and I'll show you. You'll even learn about how our business loans are good or bad idea, excuse me. And then right here, business loans and expectations. And then the first piece of that, let me actually rewind this here. You'll see a different lesson coming in here. Let me move. Okay. So what you're seeing on the screen is one of the modules you'll come to, which is the business loan types and expectations. And then underneath this one is where you're really going to learn about all the different loan services out there, personal/startup loans, credit lines. You'll learn about everything, SBA loans, how to get to SBA loans. And what I said here in the introduction to this module about business loan types and expectations, hey, smiley face, this module is intended to show you the different types of business loans. But more importantly, the first video lesson you'll get is on if you need business credit established to get a business loan in advance. So make sure you watch that. This criteria has changed in the past, and I put it in the very beginning so you can know what factor business credit plays, in the bank versus non-banking lender world. And if you ever hear something different from the rest of the loan types on business credit, the first video you're about to watch is what it is today in the market. And before you go over the first lesson, I will also have a video later down the road getting into the fact that if you go to a private lender for a non-collateralized revenue-based, all revenue coming into your business, what I mean by that, I'm going to change that word there, lump sum loan, the majority of the time you will start with a weekly or a daily repayment because it's too high of a risk for you to go monthly. Unless you have stronger credit, usually 650, but the majority in this market, you're looking at a 750 plus FICO, revenue being 50,000 plus per month in revenue deposits, and frequently doing it in the last 3 months, 6 months. Time in business, it has to be at least 3+ years. Strong balances, like strong and more, like no debt to very little of it in terms of other loans and other debts. But with the ways that most business owners can start monthly, more of the time is a revolving business line of credit. Equipment-specific loans, SBA loans, personal/startup loans, online bank loans, traditional bank loans at your own bank, etc., credit unions. So please click the green next button below the lesson so you'll see those videos, see how all that is listed there, where you'll learn, and that'll be added over time. So I go to the next lesson, and then I'll learn about business credit. I'll get into some of the things with the monthly repayments, and then I can learn a little bit about online bank term loan options, why those work the way that they work, and so much more. All right. So that's where I want to conclude this video. You got to see everything possible. All of the resources you need to make the best decision is going to be there by yours truly, giving you all access to these free things that, like I said, I might not even have that course open for free too long. So I would act on it and get it in as soon as possible, and I'll leave it in the description. And there isn't anything else out there like it. And it's going to be up to date all the time. I'll keep you guys in the know. You watch those lessons, you listen, you watch, read it thoroughly, absorb that information, do what it is necessary for you to absorb that. So by the time that I communicate with you, you have no questions asked, or you submit a questionnaire form. But in the meantime, you're learning about my content. And then I'll submit that questionnaire back to you. And then when you look at that huge email, the first option or two or so are the ones to begin with. the very first one. And I broke it down for you why that is. So there's no question. So you can get the documents that are needed and how I'll ask for them. And then the application. So you can click a link to a fintech company or this private lender or this exact direct or non-direct, but I already have those direct partner relationships. It's just underneath a more non-direct route because it's more flexibility, more discounts, a lot more of a strategic partnership to have. And that's where a lot of people are getting approved right now. So we spoke about a few different things to look at. The hardship accommodation plan. Just be prepared for anything in 2023. It's not too sure yet what will happen with the accrued interest rates, if those will completely be diminished or a large portion, maybe partial portion, along with a lot of the stuff that may happen if there's a forgiveness in 2023, a partial forgiveness. But don't bet on all of that. You're a business owner, and I know it was no fault of your own that you had to shut down partially or full shutdown, and you had to have a setback, and then you took revenue dips, and now you're trying to recover, and it's much harder for you to, for a lot of different reasons. It's different for each business. Each business owner has their reasons, and it has affected you so much on a personal level that you're like, now my credit is shot down, and I don't know what to do. It may just take a form of credit repair, or a form of you having to make those payments more on time regularly, and then clear it up as soon as possible. Anything derogatory. So then it bumps your credit score probably into the 600s, into the 680 and above. If you're 680 and above on all three consumer credit bureaus, then you can leverage your credit to get access to those credit lines, those business credit cards. I have an individual right now, a couple of ladies, a couple of gentlemen who, because of my help, they knew what business credit cards to go and apply to. They could have done it online, but they had reasons of doing it in person. And that's another way I would take advantage of, especially if you have a lot of documentation for certain projects you have and they may want to look at it a little bit more. That's a different matter. But getting 22, 40,000, 50,000, even if it's just 5,000, you build your limits over time. And if you're just hanging on to a thread and you haven't even done a single thing, which is invested maybe in some form of a credit repair, and you're in the 500s, you're like, well, I'm just struggling with COVID and you don't know what's on my plate, Michael. And yeah, I do. If I were in your position, guess what I would be doing? I would be working on my personal credit and my business credit. Differentiate the two, build your vendor credit, get access to credit lines, differentiate, move away from just using your personal credit. And you're going to see a much bigger difference. And you're going to see how you can apply the funding you have here to take on overhead, to take on debt, to do things that you didn't even think were possible. But if you're going to wait there, you're going to sit there on your couch, picking your nose, being a nose picker, and then just talking to your friends and family like nothing's wrong, and just to eating up time and energy, watching TV when you could have been putting at least 20 minutes to checking out content like this, learning and applying yourself, not just learning, but applying it. What good is it to learn this information and then never apply it? What good is it to learn from someone like myself and then go somewhere else the majority of the time? And now you're in a situation where you're like, I'm unsure, but I just wanted to see what was out there, which is not something I usually blame people for, but be very careful of where you turn to. If there's a solid plan here and we have the best of the best looked at your profile and you're still doing all of this stuff because you're fighting for the lowest price, you're out there nickel and diming people, you're pulling people in and pulling people out. Nobody needs the energy or time to be doing that. And so be very cautious. And when you have that relationship built with me, I value relationships, not on a business level entirely, but personal wise. I like to take the time to get to know individuals. If it's a lot, it's a different question. As an introvert, it's not always that way because I know how it is for me to open up to others. But I take the time. And then when we get into your business, I can logically understand all these things. So again, not to recap too much, but hardship accommodation plan, loan increase and all that, out the window, and the repayment here for the majority of you. And if you haven't made your first payment, look out for that. We talked about 0% interest, the credit line program, building your business credit too, getting access to vendor credit, up to $5 million, lending options, how a lot of people don't start off with monthly. There are different services to get started with and build your way up there. And the up to $26,000 per employee, that's a retention tax credit where people are getting a payroll tax credit for retaining employees during the 2020 and 2021 quarters. So you can get up to $26,000. That's how the math works out. And I'll leave content for you down below on if you qualify for that, so you can check that out. Actually, I have it on screen here, so let me quickly, and I do apologize for time here. 1 second. There may be a quiz, there may not be, but here, let me copy and paste this page. Oh, no, that wasn't the one. Okay, let me copy and paste this one. So this is the page you may land on. There might be a quiz before you get to this page, but if you landed here, you can watch this video. There's also a readable version. I may leave that there. I may take it away. But you can watch this and understand the whole Employee Retention Tax Credit Association and how it all works. What is the ERC? I'm not going to go into it right now, but you can see it on the screen there. And then you are eligible if you had W-2 employees in 2020 or 2021 and any of the three following. You can learn more about that. The key benefits of working with us. Actually, I like this page better. Let me see if I can go through. I recently reset my stats on this because I was A/B testing. So now let me show you the other version that I may leave on. This should be the one. It's on preview right now. There it is. So it'll walk you through here and it'll show you how it works in 3 fast and simple steps. And then more about us if you want to learn more about me and Viral Funding Solutions. And just a little bit more there. And there's about me here. You can learn more about and then click to get started. And you can go over there to that page and begin the process. Now, I also have another form, and I have video on this already, but I'll show you guys right now what it looks like. Perhaps a personal / startup loan. They're somewhat similar with similar qualifications and requirements. So you may land on this page, or it might be another YouTube video you can watch on YouTube. But once you go there, you can learn how to do this with the soft pull from 20 to 500,000 is available. And what is a personal and startup loan? You can learn more about that. You're eligible if you have this, the key benefits, how it works in 6 fast and simple steps, and learn more what other people are saying about us and so forth. Okay, now that will ultimately conclude this video. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you for those of you who were able to stick around. And if you just joined me, I just finished the content. Look down below in the description when the replay is available. You'll get access to that. Fill out that questionnaire form if you haven't. And for those of you who haven't gone back to, I will. I have emails. I have questionnaires to submit. I've been doing that actually earlier. I have more to do. I'm going to take a break, get back to it tonight maybe. And I'm going to do some of that during the week. But look out for those emails coming back to you. If you're already in the application process, you know where we are there, and I'll communicate with you accordingly. If there's things we need to clear up, fix, and so forth, email back and forth. If it's necessary to do a phone call, then it is. Not always am I going to give that to people because of the energy and time. People say one thing, they do another, or it just wasn't right. It's not just all emotional, and I love that, but it also has to make sense logically. And I have to understand how I'm allocating my time and energy to those of you. And it's not something that I never want to do. It's just that's how life gets, right, in business, and you have to understand those things. And so there are other means of communication. And if you want to work with the best, this is what happens. So that is everything from me for now. Again, look in the description. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content on EIDL, PPP, Employee Retention Tax Credit, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, up to $5 million in alternative financing, online, offline funding, private lenders, etc., angel investors, venture capitalists, all this stuff that you need to learn, business credit, personal credit, etc. The list goes on. I even show you guys on this channel from time to time, not as much recently, but like website building, how to market yourself better as a business owner, how to go out there and get more clients and do things more effectively with the background that I have had previously and to where I am now. So that'll be everything. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's have a great week. It is that Christmas month, celebrational month. Let's tackle it forward. This is the time not right now where people are just hungry and people who are out there trying to get ready before the start of the year. And it's the most busiest time, really is. And right now is your moment to seize it. All right. That's it for now. Talk soon. Bye.